Jason Kelce, yes, that Jason Kelce, reportedly sues the Browns owner over a leaked internal conversation that, allegedly, shows the team intentionally holding back Shedeur Sanders for non-football reasons. You heard that right. Not because of reads. Not because of protection schemes. Not because of maturity. But because, wait for it, his brand is too big. Seriously. That's what's being whispered. Apparently, within the Browns' upper brass, there's a real fear. A fear that Shedeur's name, his deals, his social media reach, even the backwards hat, could outshine the franchise itself.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
That he's too magnetic, too influential, too uncontrollable. And Jason Kelce? He's not having it. According to sources, Kelce saw the writing on the wall. He reportedly confronted leadership after hearing the leaked convo during a team meeting, and now he's coming after the ownership for, quote, acting in bad faith, compromising team integrity, and sabotaging player development. You want a headline? Veteran lineman suing billionaire owner over rookie QB suppression. This is not just scandal. This is NFL history in the making. But let's cut through the drama and get to the why. Why is Shedeur Sanders, of all people, the lightning rod in this mess? Because he threatens the system. And not in the way loudmouthed analysts want you to believe. Not because he's brash. Not because he's Hollywood. But because he refuses to play the part they wrote for him. You've seen this play out before. A black quarterback with elite mechanics, elite poise, elite leadership, gets labeled as a distraction for daring to own his image. For daring to bring nil-era swagger into a league that still wants its quarterback silent, boring, and professional, whatever that means anymore. But Shedeur? He won't shrink. He won't apologize for having fans, or a last name that shakes rooms, or a Nike deal that rivals veterans. He won't shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. And that scares people. So instead of empowering him, the Browns shackled him. They packaged him up like a collectible, promoted his jersey, plastered his face on the stadium banners, but refused to let him throw a pass in a real game. Meanwhile, the leaks kept leaking. One exec, anonymously of course, reportedly said, "We can't let the brand get bigger than the badge." Another, allegedly, "He's not a quarterback. He's a corporation." And now the whole league is watching. This isn't just an internal controversy anymore. It's a full-blown culture war. It's old NFL versus new era. Legacy decision-making versus player empowerment. Grit and grind narratives versus social media reality. And it's all playing out in Cleveland, of all places, the most cursed, loyal, battered fan base in the sport, being forced to sit through yet another saga while their most promising future is held hostage. Let's talk about what's really at stake here. Because the Browns didn't just draft a quarterback. They drafted a symbol. Shedeur is everything the league says it wants in a modern QB. Smart. Media savvy. Marketable. Well prepared. A born leader. So why is that the very reason he's being sidelined? Why is success off the field being used as an excuse to question his focus on it? Why is it that black quarterbacks with charisma still have to prove their humility, while mediocre white QBs get praised for having a chip on their shoulder? We've seen this before, haven't we? Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, each one forced to prove, reprove, and overprove themselves while carrying the weight of their culture and their team's expectations. And now, it's Shedeur's turn. Only this time, the stakes are different. Because now we have Daniel. We have social media reach that breaks through league filters. We have a quarterback with a direct line to his fan base, his brand, his story. And the league? It's losing control. Let's not forget the business side of this either. Nike didn't just sign Shedeur to sell cleats. They signed him to be a movement, to speak to the next generation of fans, to show what the future of athlete branding looks like. They saw what the Browns apparently didn't, that this kid isn't just a player. He's a platform. And that makes things messy. Because suddenly, every decision Cleveland makes, every snap he's denied, every vanilla press conference quote, every leak, gets run through the filter of narrative manipulation. And now, it's boiling over. Kelce suing the owner might sound wild, but it speaks to something deeper. It says, we know what's happening here, and we're not going to be complicit. If the reports are true, if Jason Kelce, one of the most respected veterans in football, felt so strongly about Shedeur's treatment that he took legal action, then everything changes. The locker room is watching. The media is watching. And Shedeur? He's already 3 moves ahead. You don't grow up with Deion Sanders as your father and not know how to navigate chaos. You don't get a national endorsement deal and fumble your own image. Shedeur's not cracking under the pressure. He's waiting, calculating, letting the story unfold, letting the Browns make their choices. And when the time comes, he won't be silent. And if the Browns lose him, and I mean really lose him, they won't just lose a quarterback. They'll lose a generation of fans. They'll lose the trust of the locker room. They'll lose the future. Because there's no walking this back if it goes any further. This isn't about one game, or one quarterback, or even one lawsuit. This is a line in the sand. The Browns have a decision to make, right here, right now. Do you back down from the fear of change? Or do you embrace the future, the real, uncomfortable, powerful future, and build around a quarterback who's not just ready to play, but ready to lead an era? Time's up, Cleveland. The spotlight's on. Let's see what you do next. What's your take? Is this lawsuit the beginning of the end for the Browns' current regime? Has Shedeur been held back for reasons that go beyond football? Drop your comments below, and if you're tired of the media sugarcoating the truth, hit that subscribe button. Because we're not just covering the headlines, we're exposing what's behind them. Alright, if you thought the lawsuit was the climax of this chaos, buckle up. We haven't even hit the 3rd act yet. Because when a Super Bowl champion like Jason Kelce throws down the legal gauntlet against a franchise owner, it sends shockwaves. Not just through the Browns organization, but through the entire league. And if you listen closely, you can hear the panic rippling through NFL boardrooms coast to coast. Here's what's happening now. Behind closed doors, Browns ownership is scrambling. The PR team is working overtime, desperately trying to spin this into something it's not. Internal miscommunication. Taken out of context. Part of a broader review process. So, just stop. You don't slap a muzzle on your most promising quarterback because of a so-called miscommunication. You don't leak his personal development plan to media outlets in a way that conveniently damages his credibility unless you're trying to control the story before the player does. And Jason Kelce? He saw through it. All of it. This isn't about a single player anymore. It's about power, control, and the league's unwillingness to evolve with the new generation of athletes who know their worth and how to protect it. Let's be honest, how many times have we seen this before? A young, black quarterback enters the league with confidence and presence, and instead of embracing that leadership, certain parts of the system try to repackage him. Make him more digestible, more safe. You know what that really means. Less bold, less outspoken, less threatening to the carefully curated image the league wants to project. But here's the thing, Shedeur Sanders doesn't fit in their mold. He is the mold. The new one. The one being forged in real time. And that's why this lawsuit matters. Because it says, flat out, if you silence players for who they are off the field, you'll be held accountable on it. Meanwhile, inside the Browns locker room, trust is cracking. Some players are rallying around Shedeur. Others are staying quiet, afraid of what speaking up might cost them. But the fracture lines are forming. When leadership lets internal politics sabotage a rookie QB's development, the locker room doesn't forget. They remember. Veterans start asking, who's next? If it happened to him, it could happen to me. Rookies start wondering if they'll ever get a fair shot. And fans? Oh, fans feel it. The disillusionment. The déjà vu. The creeping realization that, once again, a potentially generational talent might be squandered not because he couldn't cut it, but because he wouldn't shrink. And as all this unfolds, Shedeur? He hasn't said a word. No tweets. No interviews. Nothing flashy. Because he doesn't have to. His silence is deafening. Controlled. Tactical. He's letting the chaos play out, letting the headlines do the talking, because he knows his moment is coming. Whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else is the only question left. And for the Browns, that's the scariest part, because if he leaves, if they lose him over pride, politics, and PR malpractice, he will haunt them. Every Sunday, every stat sheet, every primetime broadcast where he's lighting up defenses while the Browns are still rebuilding. It won't just be a bad decision. It'll be a legacy killer. So the countdown begins. The league is watching. The fans are watching. And Shedeur? He's just waiting for the whistle. Because what's happening to Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback controversy. It's a full-on identity crisis for the league. See, the NFL loves to preach next man up, meritocracy, best player plays, and all the rest of those tidy slogans. But when someone like Shedeur comes along, talented, media-savvy, deeply aware of his own value, suddenly the rules change. Suddenly, it's not about who's performing best at practice. It's about optics, about readiness, about fitting the system. Let me translate that for you. It's about control. Because Shedeur doesn't just show up with an arm, he shows up with power. He doesn't need the league's machine to become a household name. He already is one. He has a direct connection to fans, a brand, a voice, a message. And that, my friend, makes him dangerous. To the old guard, at least. Because what happens when a rookie quarterback walks into the building with more cultural capital than the team's owner? What happens when he trends on Twitter more than the team does? What happens when Nike gives him a mega deal before he's even taken a professional snap? The league starts to get uncomfortable. And when the league gets uncomfortable, it starts making excuses. He's not ready. He needs to learn the playbook. We don't want to throw him into the fire too soon. Oh really? Funny how those concerns vanish when a rookie QB is quiet, white, and seen as a humble underdog. Then he's gritty. He's ahead of schedule. He's got that dog in him. But Shedeur? He walks in composed, stylish, educated, backed by a Hall of Fame legacy, and suddenly he's a problem? Come on. Let's just say what this is. The NFL, or at least parts of it, still hasn't figured out how to deal with black quarterbacks who know they're more than just athletes. And this is where the Browns are fumbling on every level. Because instead of embracing the fact that they struck gold, instead of seeing Shedeur as a gift to a struggling franchise desperate for a new face, they're trying to shrink him, fit him into a box, keep him quiet, humble, and controllable until they decide he's ready. But here's the truth they're not ready for. He's already ready. And that's why they're panicking. Because this isn't just about what Shedeur could do this season, it's about what he could represent for the next decade. He's not just a player. He's a movement. And the Browns? They're stuck playing chess against a guy who's already thinking 4 moves ahead. Look at the optics. The moment the leak dropped, that someone from the Browns front office allegedly said Shedeur's brand was too big to start, everything shifted. It confirmed what fans feared. That this wasn't about performance. It was politics. And now, you've got Jason freaking Kelce, stepping in and saying, enough. Think about that. A beloved, straight-shooter veteran who's been through every stage of this league, winning Super Bowls, protecting generational QBs, being the anchor of locker rooms, taking the owner to task? That's not nothing. That's unheard of. It's a message to the league, we see you. And we're not letting this slide. Kelce's involvement alone should be a wake-up call. Because he's not doing this for clout. He's not chasing headlines. He's trying to protect the integrity of the game. The idea that the best players should play. That football should decide who starts, not sponsorship fear, not owner ego, not politics. But now the question becomes, what's next? Because you can only keep the dam patched for so long. The leaks are getting louder. The fan base is getting angrier. The locker room is getting divided. And Shedeur? He's sitting in the eye of the storm, calm, quiet, calculating. Think about the discipline that takes. To be dragged through the mud by anonymous quotes, held back by a franchise pretending it's for your own good, and still not lash out. Not post cryptic tweets. Not blow up on social media. Just keep showing up. Keep putting in the work. Keep letting the tape speak for itself. That's not immaturity. That's mastery. But make no mistake, he's not going to wait forever. Because the NFL is a carousel. Teams are always looking for the guy. And if the Browns don't want Shedeur to be their guy, someone else will. Plan. New Orleans. Vegas. Pick a city, they'd throw a king's ransom at the Browns to get him. And when he leaves, when he walks into a building that actually believes in him, from day one, it's over. He's going to take over that city. Take over that offense. Take over the conversation. And Cleveland? They'll be left holding a press conference saying things like, "We wish Shedeur nothing but the best. This was a tough organizational decision. We're confident in our quarterback room. Save it." This isn't a typical rookie exit scenario. If Shedeur leaves, it will haunt this franchise for years. It'll be the biggest regret since they passed on Deshaun Watson the first time, or traded down instead of taking Mahomes. Because the thing about generational talent is, you only get so many chances. And this is one of them. So what now? Does the team backtrack and hand him the reins? Does Shedeur demand a trade? Does the lawsuit spiral into depositions and discovery and full-on public meltdown? All of it's possible. But one thing is clear. The clock is ticking. And every second the Browns spend trying to manage this like a brand crisis instead of a football opportunity is a second closer to losing it all. So to Cleveland's front office, if any of you are reading this, you don't need more spin. You don't need more time. You need to do one thing. Play before someone else lets him do it first. And once that happens, it's not just over for the Browns. It's Shedeur season, and the whole league's about to feel it. And there, in the background, standing on the sideline in full gear but no helmet, is Shedeur Sanders. Collected. The eye of the storm. The cameras catch him again. They always do. Not because he's seeking them out, but because they can't look away. There's just something about him. That composure. That posture. That quiet confidence that says, "I'm not here for flash. I'm here for the throne." And it's killing the Browns brass. Because they know. Deep down they know. He's ready. And every moment they don't let him touch the field, the pressure builds. The whispers grow. The questions multiply. Why is the offense so stale? Why are fans leaving at halftime? Why is the most exciting quarterback on the roster collecting dust while the team limps through mediocrity? Why does it feel like we're all being gaslit? And now, with Jason Kelce's lawsuit lighting a fire under the league office, everyone's on high alert. ESPN's already prepping panel debates. Skip Bayless is foaming at the mouth. Shannon Sharp's making calls. You can bet the producers at First Take are rewriting next week's rundown. This isn't just a quarterback controversy now. It's a culture war. It's a boardroom rebellion. It's the Browns versus the future, and they're on the wrong side of it. And then, the trade rumors resurface. New England. Even the Saints start sniffing around. Teams that know they're one quarterback away from flipping the script. Teams with real offensive coordinators. Real weapons. Real ambition. And they're not subtle. Offers start leaking. First-round picks. Future considerations. Veteran pieces. And every time the Browns pretend they're not listening, it just gets more obvious. They're terrified. Because if they trade him, and he pops off somewhere else, they become that team. The team that had the next great star, and let him walk. You think they'll survive that in Cleveland? Ask any fan who still wakes up in a cold sweat remembering when they passed on Ben Roethlisberger. Or when they drafted Brandon Weeden at 28 years old. Or when they built a statue of Baker Mayfield in their minds before the ink even dried. Browns fans have been through everything, except, apparently, the right quarterback at the right time. And now they have him. And they're about to blow it. But the irony? They don't even see Shedeur's full value yet. Because this kid isn't just a future Pro Bowl quarterback. He's a franchise reset button. He's new energy. New expectations. A walking rebrand. You let him play, and suddenly the Browns aren't just scrappy underdogs, or gritty losers with heart. They're must-watch television. They're relevant. And yet, the people making the decisions seem more afraid of losing control than winning games. Let me ask you this. When was the last time Cleveland had a quarterback who could change the culture? Not just win a few games. Not just give one good season and flame out. I mean, reshape the entire franchise identity? Because that's what Shedeur could do. That's what they're sitting on. And instead of handing him the keys, they're leaving him locked in the garage like a luxury car they're afraid to scratch. But here's the catch. You can't keep a Ferrari idling forever. At some point, the engine gets cold. The tires lose air. The driver starts looking for a new road. And that's where this is headed, unless Cleveland snaps out of its self-imposed trance and wakes up to what's right in front of them. Because Shedeur's not going to wait forever. He shouldn't. He's already being courted. Already hearing the chatter. Already watching other rookies with half his talent get playing time just because their organizations have the guts to let them fail before they learn to fly. Meanwhile, Shedeur's being told to wait. To sit. To develop in silence. But he's not the one who needs developing. The Browns are. They need to develop the spine to hand the reins to a quarterback who's not afraid to lead. They need to develop the courage to face backlash for doing the right thing, even if it makes the old guard uncomfortable. They need to develop a culture that actually rewards talent, not tenure. Presence, not politics. Grit, not groupthink. And you know who else is watching? Deion. You think Coach Prime is just sitting back and letting this slide? You think he's watching his son get sidelined for branding reasons and not taking notes? You better believe he's got every text, every leak, every passive-aggressive quote from the Browns staff screenshotted and stored like ammunition. Because when the time comes, and it will come, Deion's going to speak. And when he does, he's not going to need a microphone. He is the microphone. And his voice carries further than the entire Browns PR department combined. So here's the bottom line. You've got a generational talent. You've got a locker room that's starting to fracture. You've got a city that's begging for something real. And you've got a choice. Keep playing it safe. Keep starting the aging vets. Keep spinning press conferences with empty platitudes and vague updates about timeline and progression. Or make the move. Let Shedeur take the field. Let the fans believe again. Let the league feel that something's changed in Cleveland. Because at this point, you don't just owe it to Shedeur. You owe it to yourself. This franchise has been wandering in the desert for 2 decades. A quarterback carousel. A graveyard of jerseys. Hopes raised, hopes shattered. Again and again. And now, for the first time, you've got something real. Don't mess it up. Because if he leaves, he's not just going to be great somewhere else. He's going to torch you on national television. He's going to smile politely when the media asks about Cleveland and say, no hard feelings. But you'll know. You'll feel it every touchdown. Every primetime comeback. Every time fans in another city chant his name like it was always meant to be theirs. And every time you watch Joe Flacco throw a 4-yard check down on 3rd and 12, you'll remember. You had Shedeur Sanders. And you let him walk.